Thank you. You may be seated. You can start the video.
Medication.
Nope, I don't take any.
But Vicky did a whole
Yeah.
bunch. So what pharmacy did she use?
Most of it we got from CVS in Green Bay. The one on military and military and Mason.
CVS on military. Did you use any other ones that you can think of?
Once in a great while, the one here in town. Very seldom. I don't even know what it's called.
It's a different one though?
Yeah, it's
not a
different.
CVS?
No, not a CVS.
Okay, and that was, can you think, is that in a grocery store? Or
No,
is
it's a
that
regular drugstore, right across from the church. On, if you go heading north out of town, it's actually where all the buildings burned down in town.
Yep, right downtown there.
It's the next building going north.
Is there a bar next to it, something nearby?
No, bar's gone. That's all gone. Everything is gone there.
So,
on
but,
that
it's,
corner.
but it's on Pulaski Street.
It's on the street going north. Yeah, it's
Oh, going north.
Going north.
Going to like O'Connell.
O'Connell or Gillett or whatever.
Drugstore in Pulaski. Is it left side of the street or
On
right?
left side of the street.
Left side of the street.
On the west side of the street.
And who would pick up the medication?
I would.
You would always do
I would
it?
always pick it up.
Would she sometimes come with you, or?
Once in a while she'd be with me if
But
we were
most
going
of
to
the time-
Green Bay or whatever, but basically I would pick it up. Because at CVS they were open all night. When I'd go into work, I'd just leave early, didn't have to wait in the line, go in there at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, 20 minutes later, 10 minutes later, I was on my way out. At work in time and no fighting the crowds or anything else.
And remember you told us that one time that, so shortly after Vicky disappeared is when you went out to see a friend in Shawano, and then that's kind of when you ended up over
Yeah,
on
they
the-
ended up over there.
over there and had that chance meeting with
Yeah.
Kathy.
Yeah.
What was your friend's name?
He's moved. He's down in Colorado or someplace. And he was a truck driver.
Sure.
He changed jobs.
That's the friend that you went to see
All
in
I
Shawano?
knew him by was John.
John?
That's all. Didn't know no last name or, I mean, this guy I met on the road when I was driving,
Truck driver?
yeah, back and forth. I ran out to Minnesota, North Dakota, and Iowa. And I ran into him out there all the time.
And what state is he in now?
As far as I know, he's in Colorado.
And do you have his number at all?
No, I don't anymore since he moved. No
So-
contact with him.
So remind me, how long after Vicky went missing did you go to Shawano to try to visit him?
I think it was the 4th of July weekend.
Okay, 4th of July weekend.
You're 3 years
No,
ago.
it's a long time. I understand.
I think it was 4th of July weekend.
And so then you drove to, is it City of Shawano?
Yeah, the city of Shawano.
Okay, and then you
And I just went up to Wittenberg, another 20-some miles, and I stopped at the casino, and
is it a friend of yours or?
might be Frank, the landlord.
Oh, Frank, does he have cancer right
Got
now?
it real bad.
Oh no. Were you waiting for him, or he's just doing something? Okay. So you went to the City of Shawano. Was it a house or apartment?
A house.
Okay. And was the guy
I think he rented it. He didn't
rental
know.
house? Okay. You don't remember the street?
No, I just knew where he lived.
Sure. So his name was John. Did he live by himself or with anyone else?
He lived by himself.
How old was he about?
About my age. No, a little bit younger. Yeah, I keep forgetting I'm 71 now.
So let's go back to John quick. He was at an address there. He was there by himself. He's probably a little longer than you. You met him when you were truck driving?
Yeah.
How many years back?
Well, I quit driving over the road 40 years ago.
So did he live in Shawano like all those times?
He lived in Shawano, as far as I knew, all that time. And
So
then-
for decades?
Yeah, for a long time.
How long did he live in that house where you
I
lived?
have no idea.
But a long time.
Quite a while, I'm assuming. You know, I don't know if he lived other places there.
When was, so if this was like 4th of July weekend, when before, so that would be 2013.
Yeah.
When before that did you either talk to him or visit him?
Year ago, year before that, maybe or something.
And you went to that house?
No, I met him at the fair, Shawano County Fair.
Oh, Shawano County Fair?
Yeah. Him and a bunch of other guys were there that I knew. We used to hang out in Shawano quite a bit, around Shawano. I just sort of got away from it. And used to go to the fair, used to go to stock car races. A guy who worked for us, he drove stock car, and then his son drove stock car. We'd go to the races once in a while, and it was just a whole bunch of guys. If you were around, we'd meet, have a few beers, and watch the races and go home.
When was the last time you met him at his house, at that house where you drove?
That weekend of the 4th of July, when I said I went.
Yeah, before that.
Oh, before that?
Before that.
Couple years maybe. It wasn't a regular thing.
Okay, but
you know, I used to run into him on the road a lot. And then we sort of, when they ain't on the road, you don't keep in contact with guys that you don't have anything really. I'll say, hey, hi, you know, heck yeah, I'll meet you for coffee or whatever. How you doing? And
so
you might run into him.
But you drove to that house a couple of years, so like 2010, 2011, you went to that house?
Well, once or twice, yeah. I don't know.
So the only thing I'm trying to establish is he's been in that house for at least a couple of years.
Yeah, he's been in the house for a couple of years.
Okay.
Before that, I didn't really go see him a whole lot, or, you know, I didn't go see him because I ran into him all the time. Well, then when I quit, I sort of lost contact with him. When I quit driving over the road, when I started at the Peakeries. And I started there in '83.
What'd you put in, 26 years, right?
30 years, 31 years.
31 years.
Yeah, over there.
Wow. So, walk me through this. It's now a little bit after Vicky goes missing.
Yeah.
And what did you tell us last time? You said you just went
for a ride.
And you went to Shawano to visit your friend,
John.
John.
I was going that way. I was just riding around. I said, I'll stop and see if he's there.
Yep.
That's all.
Tell me again. So you drove to his house.
Stopped there, talked to him for a little while, and got in the car and left again.
Okay, so you went inside the house?
No, we talked outside. He was outside when I went there.
How long did you visit him, do you think?
15 minutes.
15
Wanted
minutes.
to see what he was doing.
And how did you find out that he moved?
I went down there and stopped to see him one time on my way up to Wittenberg, and he was gone.
Oh, so how did you find out that he moved to Colorado?
Somebody in the house said that he had moved, and he moved to Colorado. That's all I know.
Oh, somebody in the house knew him?
No, didn't know him. Just said that the guy who had rented.
Oh, okay.
Said he had moved out. He got a different job driving for somebody else or what.
Do you remember if you talked to a man or a woman?
I don't remember.
But that was a couple of months after July.
No, in July when
A
couple months after.
Yeah. You visited him in July, 4th of July weekend, and then a couple of months later you tried to visit him again.
And he was gone.
And somebody in the house said, the guy that used to live here, he's no longer here.
No longer here. He's gone.
Okay, that makes sense. And then, so then, after you visited him, you said for how long, you think?
10, 15
10,
minutes.
15 minutes. And then what did you decide to do?
I just kept riding. I just went for a ride
Kept
again.
on riding west, right?
Yeah, got in the car and took off and went.
And then you ended up at the casino, and that's where you...
casino, spent some money and ran into her. And
how many girlfriends was she with? Do you remember?
She was there by herself, I think.
At the casino she was?
Yeah. She never said nothing. You know, I don't know. I just happened to run into her, and we talked for a little while, and if she was with somebody, I don't even know what she was.
Sure. So tell me then, so you decide, you've been to casinos before, just not that one?
Not that one.
So that's where you ended up?
That's where I ended up.
And then just walk me through again the casino part.
Walked into the casino, I was walking around looking for a machine to play, and I thought I recognized her.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked up and I said, "You look familiar." At first she didn't recognize me, and then she did.
Been a long time, like 20 years or what?
Almost 30 years.
30 years, yeah, of course. I wouldn't recognize me either.
You know, I mean, she just looked familiar.
Right. Yep.
You You know, even you don't see somebody for 20 years, you think, God, that guy looks familiar, that lady looks, you know, just something. That's all I can say.
Yep.
Turned out that she had been living, she got divorced not long after I quit driving. When I sort of lost contact, didn't talk to him for a long time. And I ended up calling her about 6, 7 years after I quit driving, just see how everything was going, how her husband, you know, whatever, if he was still driving. She was divorced. Threw him out. She was living with another guy. And the old guy died. Would have been November of 12. She asked how things were going. I said, well, it could be better. She said, my wife took off. I said, can't find her, don't know what happened. I said, how's things going? She said, well, Marv died. I knew about Marv because I called her a couple times after that, just for, I said, someday you guys want to meet, we'll have coffee, I'll meet you halfway. She said, well, Marv was pretty sick and what have you, we don't travel a whole lot. Go to the casino once in a while, but don't travel. This was, you know, right before we really. And I maybe called her in 30 years, I maybe called her 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
Just to see, you know, how everything was going. And, you know, I mean, we were good friends with the both of them. Because they came to our house and stayed when the rodeo was here and everything else. And, you know, it wasn't like they were strangers. And we had 1 year for the rodeo, and 2 or 3 couples came. One from Sun Prairie that I knew that drove truck. And, you know, just for the weekend, and all we did was drink beer and go to the rodeo. And
So let's go back to the casino. So now you meet her, you hadn't seen her in 30 years, you guys are catching up, she tells you Marv passed away in November 2012.
yeah,
Tell me how long you meet with her at the casino.
we sat and talked, and then we went to the truck stop. Had something to eat.
Just the 2 of you.
Yeah, just the 2 of us.
So that's why you didn't think
I didn't think if she had anybody with her or not.
Oh,
No.
she didn't say anything.
No, she didn't say it.
So you went to the truck stop in Wittenberg, is it? Or?
Well, that big one there, I don't know.
Oh yeah, right next to it, right down the street, right?
No, it's out of town on 45 going south.
Okay, so you talked for a while at the casino, then you went to the truck stop, talked for a while there?
Had something to eat.
Yep. And then what happened?
Yeah, went home.
Then you went home and she went home?
Yeah.
Or did you guys didn't
No,
go to each other's house or anything?
no.
Okay, and then from that point on, you started
We
talking
started
and
talking,
meeting?
and one thing led to another, and that's where we are now.
Okay. That helps me a little bit. So let me see here. Now I need you to kind of try to think, and I know it was a long time, but this may be helpful to me. When the last time you saw her, Victoria, in the morning of April of 2013, try to remember what it is that she was wearing that you remember.
I don't remember the morning because we went to the doctor that afternoon.
Okay.
Right?
So how about after the doctor?
After the doctor, I told you, came home. I said, you want to go uptown and get something to eat or you whatever? She said, no, not really. I said, well, I'll go to Super Ron's. I got some chicken. I told you. Came home.
Yep.
We ate chicken, talked for a little bit, sat around about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I said, I'm going to bed. Got to get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. She was up. Not unusual for her to stay up. Not unusual for her to go outside. I told you all that.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. I'd get up and she'd be out here at 3 o'clock in the morning working on the trees or the plants or whatever. And when I looked and looked, couldn't find her. I told you. I got in the truck. I thought maybe she went for a walk.
So before you get to that, do you remember what she was wearing last time you
It
saw
was,
her?
I thought like a tan, like a jacket. I don't
Can we
remember.
do this? Can we go inside the house and look to make sure that what you saw her wearing last?
Well,
is
I'm
not
sure
there?
it's not in there, but I'll show you all
Yeah,
her clothes.
if we can do that, that'd be great. And then, do you remember, did we collect the purse last time we were
Yes,
here?
you had her purse, you had her cell phone,
Okay.
you had, I don't know what else.
any of the clothing that she,
There was nothing here that she wore that day.
Okay.
There was
okay.
stuff, she dressed,
And then I see there's not shoes here. I don't know, are the shoes in a different area?
yeah, I'll show you all the shoes.
Okay. Do you remember what kind of shoes she was wearing?
Clothes, there's clothes. Now you tell me how I'm supposed to remember.
No,
what she-
I don't know. I don't, do
Look at-
you remember?
No.
So
It was something, she wore layers.
My question is simple. Is any of the stuff that's here, whether it's clothing or
No,
shoes,
nothing
the
here.
stuff she would have been wearing that you remember?
No, I know.
Okay, that's
There's a
simple.
pile of shoes.
And then I want you to show me in the house. Can you show me where you guys sat and had dinner?
Right here, kitchen table.
Would it be okay maybe to turn that up so I can hear you better?
Sure.
Okay. And then here's what I'd like to do. I would like to do this. Jim, you're going to be Jim.
Yeah.
I'm going to be Wesley.
Yeah,
Okay? And he's going to be Victoria.
yeah.
Okay? So I want you to tell me where you were seated when you guys sat there. Do you remember?
No.
Okay. But it was at the
3.5 years ago, you're asking me where I sat at a goddamn kitchen table? My God, man. And you're asking me what kind, do you pay attention to what your wife wears every time she gets dressed? If you do, you're a good man, but
No, the simple answer to that, Jim, is I don't. However,
yeah, I know you don't. But say, God forbid, something would happen to your wife. Would you be able to tell everybody what she had on? Or what she wore? If you guys think I did something, God damn it, arrest me and haul me in. Because I didn't. He said I did.
well, I'm talking.
At that interview. Right to me. I know you did something to that woman.
I'm talking now.
Well, then, maybe.
That's why he hasn't said a word. He hasn't
Well-
said a word. Because sometimes you get angry like this, I don't feel safe. So I asked him.
I don't get angry very often, but this is getting to be.
What's ridiculous? I just asked you to.
We're trying to help you
I know
find
you're trying to help
answers.
me remember, but 3.5 years
Then just
ago,
then tell me you don't remember.
I don't remember
Perfect. I'll move on to the next day.
where I was sitting when we
That's
sat
okay.
down.
But you remember there was here and
It
not
was
in the
here.
living room.
Yeah.
That's all I need. That's all I need. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, but
Jim, it's okay. If you don't remember, you tell me you don't remember. I understand it's been 3 years. And I have yet once to say anything to you that implies, even remotely, that I think that you did.
well, if it wasn't him, then it was one of the other officers there.
Well, that's why he hasn't said a word.
That looked right me in,
You see
right,
how he-
turned the chair around like this, right here, stared me right in the face. I know you did something to that woman. I know you did.
That's before. This is now. All
And
of
when I
that-
get accused like that, I'm sorry, I will fight back because I didn't
Well,
do
that's
anything.
why I brought him with, because I don't want to have a fight. I am not a
I'm not gonna fight.
Good.
I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna hurt anybody. I'm not gonna hit you. I'm not gonna try and hit anybody.
Perfect.
So I don't need to get locked up for doing something stupid.
Perfect. Perfect. So if you don't remember,
I don't remember.
then you just tell me you don't remember.
Okay, I don't remember.
Good, but you remember it was here.
I was here, definitely here.
So it's going to be very simple. I'm going to ask you to walk me through of what happened that night after you guys ate. And I want you to move us around, like,
She got up, I don't know where she went or what she did, putzed around in the living room or in there, came back, we sat and talked for a little bit about just the doctor and what he said, and what have you. And I said, well, I'm gonna go to bed and watch TV and fall asleep. She said, I'll be in bed in a little while.
you said that from here.
Yeah, I think I was here, standing here, or sitting here, or whatever.
And where was Wes?
I think Wes was upstairs already.
So you guys had dinner. She went putzing around.
Yeah,
Wes made his way upstairs.
as far as I remember.
Then she comes back here, and you guys are talking some more.
Yep, just, I don't even remember what we just talked.
Yep, and then from the kitchen, you say, I'm gonna get going to bed.
Yeah.
And that was what time do you think?
8:30, 9 o'clock.
Because you have to work early.
Yeah.
That was during your working days.
Yeah.
You still keep that schedule?
No, not now. You're lucky I get my ass out of bed by 9 o'clock in the morning.
Right, right. So she was in the kitchen when you went out to bed.
Yeah,
And where did you go?
right to I don't think we ever sat in there, any of us, you know, I mean, that I know of. You can see.
So that evening was all basically here. Let me recap, make sure I got it right, the parts you remember. First, the three of you sit down and have dinner.
Yeah.
At some point, Wes goes upstairs to do whatever he
I'm
needs to do.
thinking he went upstairs.
She was putzing around.
Yeah.
Do you remember what room?
No, putzing around, she was putzing with the bird, and I don't know. I was laying in bed. Had TV on, I was listening to watching stuff that I don't remember what I was
Did
watching.
you come out of the bed then?
No, not at all. Until I woke up about 3:30.
Well, you said that you were here when you told her that you were going to be going to bed.
I was here when I said I'm going to go to bed. I went to bed.
Then you watched TV.
I watched TV in the bedroom.
And where was she when you were watching TV?
I don't know.
In the house.
In the house.
Okay.
She was in the house as far as at
Where,
8:30.
to your best recollection, where in the house was the last time you physically saw her?
Right here in the kitchen when I walked into the bedroom.
And that was at 8:39.
About 8:30, 9 o'clock.
And then you watched TV and you stayed up for how long?
I don't know when it was. Maybe a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, maybe 15 minutes.
And your impression was she was in the house?
She was in the house at that time.
Then now let's move to the next one. Now you're up.
Get up at 3:30. About 3:30, I don't remember, 2:30, 4:04.
Yep. Tell me what you do the first thing you do.
I get up, go to the bathroom, take a pee,
Yep.
holler for her, honey. Thought maybe she was down in the basement.
Yep.
She'd go down in the basement, this woman, maybe constantly had to be doing something when she was on. She would either be cleaning or she was always doing something. She never really sat still. I don't know, you know, and that's the way she always was. Everything had to be done. It had to be done. She'd start cleaning the house, she'd tear half the house apart, and then put it back together. You know, I mean, it might take a week, but that's just the way she was different, I guess you could call it. Well, I loved her. I still do.
So what you told me, you got out of bed 3:34.
Yeah.
And you went to the bathroom, you hollered, honey.
Yeah. The holler.
You thought, why don't you go to the bathroom and then show me what you did that morning? And if you have to holler,
I don't remember. I went to the bathroom.
if you don't remember,
I
that's okay.
took a piss. I hollered, honey!
Then what did you do?
Honey! Well, then I went, hollered upstairs. I went up and just hollered up the stairs.
Okay, go ahead.
I just walked over here.
Go ahead. Do exactly what you did.
And I walked over here. I said, honey!
Okay.
She didn't answer.
Okay, then go
Then
ahead.
I went here, went down in the basement.
Go ahead.
Thought she was down here. Turned the light on. Down the steps. Honey!
Okay.
I walked over here, I think it was, I don't remember. It was here first. Lord. I walked over here, opened this door, it wasn't open. I looked in here, okay, did something, nothing here.
Okay, then what happened?
Then I went looked in here, and then I looked in here.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was in that order.
And then, Jim, do you remember, if she's not answering to your yells, do you remember why it is that you felt the importance to look in every spot?
Because she tried to kill herself down here in the basement once. That's why.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Yep. So you were looking.
I found her in that room.
Okay. So you were looking to see if she was in distress.
Yes, I was.
Okay. Okay. That's why we're asking.
That's
why
what I was looking for. I
Yep.
thought, if she tried something, maybe I could find her.
Perfect. Okay. Then what happened?
That's like the time when she tried to commit suicide at home in town.
Okay.
If Wes wouldn't have come home when he did, she would have been dead.
Sure. Then what happened next? Jim?
Then I went outside. And
Okay, I'll follow you.
Come on, sweetheart. Come on. Get up here. Go outside. Go out. Go on. Okay, what happened next? You said you went.
You went outside?
I went outside, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That's outside. That's okay. Hours were out of here. I think I walked, I don't remember if I walked across the look or not.
Okay.
I went over by the garage. Well, I think I walked over by the garage. The doors are all locked from the outside. I think sometimes you walk like this. So whatever you can remember, fine. Whatever you can, tell me you don't remember. Okay. Still looking for her. Yeah. So I walked over here. I saw all the kids were in the doors. So I knew there was no way she could get in. Okay. No way they could be locked. So then I walked over here. That's when I jumped in the truck.
Okay, so let's go first the truck. So let me ask you this, Jim. From the point you got up and started looking for besides the actual urination.
Yeah.
Besides that, what we just walked and did that take about the same amount of time?
Pretty close, because I was going pretty fast.
Good. Okay. Then you went to the truck and that's when you went for a look
I
around.
was there about 4 o'clock, I don't know exactly what time I got. I don't know.
So you thought it was sometime between 3:30 and a quarter. What time were you supposed to get with that?
You try to get there by 6.
Okay. So here's what's important. I was hoping that maybe we can jump in the truck, you can either drive.
Or the car.
Whatever.
Oh, you got a half hour, 45 minutes to ride around? Well, I can tell you this much, it saved you a lot of driving. I went all the way up.
It's actually very, you see how we walk here? It's actually part of the investigation, very important if we can actually take a ride. So if you don't,
I'll go.
Okay, hop in the truck and I'll just jump in with you with my person.
Is that okay if I get in, Jim, too?
I want you to drive the exact same way.
Hold it, hey.
You're driving around, what are you thinking, what are you looking for?
I'm just looking for somebody walking down the road.
Okay, and the reason why you kind of pointed in this general direction is?
This is the way that we usually went if we were going to town.
Okay, so you thought she'd maybe walk in the way she knows?
Well, she knows other ways too, but this is the one we usually use. Usually go to. I usually always go this way if I'm going to town. I don't know why.
Well, people have their habits. Absolutely. While you're driving, you think of any other thoughts you remember having or anything else that you recall? Did you try to call anyone while driving?
I tried calling her on her cell phone.
Before you went driving or after you started driving?
After I started driving, I think. I don't remember if I tried to call before.
Okay. And do you remember what happened? Did you get an answer?
Got her voicemail or whatever. Go answer.
Okay. Did you leave a voicemail message?
No, I I didn't, because she never answers the damn things anyway.
Sure. So you remember trying to call while you're driving. You may or may not have called before you
I
went.
may or may not have called. I'm sure I called once, maybe while I was driving her twice.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Okay.
3.5 years ago, I don't remember.
I understand.
If it had been that, yeah, probably not, because I just wasn't.
Okay, so now we got to 32, and you think you went north towards
I'm
Pulaski?
pretty sure I went north, as far as I can remember.
Okay.
And I went this way.
Okay. Are you getting nervous now that you didn't see her at home and now you're not seeing her?
I started to get nervous after I didn't see her within the first. Now, I don't remember if that's the way I went first, or if I went up.
But either way, you went on these roads.
I went on
So
these
Hawthorne
roads.
Drive or
Went on these roads.
And had Vicky ever been this far away from the house walking?
No.
If you would have found her walking here, that would have been odd.
Yes, it would have been a surprise. I know I ended up.
Okay, that's okay. Go which way you think you
One
went.
way or the other. I don't remember if it was off of this road or what, but I ended up here.
Okay.
Reason I went here, I wanted to get over onto County B.
B, okay. Yep, that's the one that comes all the way across. This is B here?
Nope. Not yet.
What road is this here? Something. Okay, so then we went eastbound on this road here, to the North Shore.
Oh, this is at Norwood, I think. The Norwood. That's the one that comes out where I said, I know I didn't go down that way, but this comes out on the corner by B.
Okay. Yeah, I don't get out here too often, so they're kind of showing me around a little bit. So this is Brookside Drive.
That'll only be Brookside.
Oh, which is also
Here's
that,
B
so
right here.
You took a left on Brookside, now you're at B over here. Okay. Now we're gonna go this spot on here. Okay.
This way on B, get on County C.
Got it. Okay. Is there a reason maybe why you drove by some of these other side roads?
I just didn't go down anything any further that way. I didn't think she would be, you know, I didn't know how long she was gone, but I didn't think she would be that far.
Gotcha. You remember, did she have trouble walking at that time?
I don't know. sometimes she'd act like she couldn't walk at all, and then you'd swear to God there was nothing wrong with her.
Or they were gonna go southbound on C, take a right. So do you remember what her condition was?
She was good that day, because we were at the doctor, and what have you, she walked by.
Did she need assistance with a cane or anything? that day?
She had one, but she didn't use it all. Once in a while she used it.
Did she use it that day?
I don't think so. I don't remember. The cane was laying there. I think you guys even got the cane.
Gotcha. You're doing well, just the best that you can remember.
Well, I went up here because I had endorsement. Maplewood.
Maplewood, got it. What bars did you frequent at that time in 2013?
Basically, most of them in town, or one or two in town. Zielinski's and Wicca's.
Yeah. Any other ones?
No.
Okay.
Were the only two we
Any out here? Because I know there's some bars out
We
here.
stopped here. You stop out here, but that changed hands, and we never stopped here after that.
And what year did you stop going here? Like before or after she went missing?
That was before she was gone.
Okay.
This changed hands. There was an older couple rented it or leased it or whatever.
Because that's pretty close to your house.
Yeah. We used to go there.
So when she would get upset that you went drinking afterward, that was the Pulaski bars?
Usually at the Pulaski bar here. And she didn't get that upset all the time because most of the time I was home by 5 o'clock.
Sure.
Stop and have 3-4 beers with the guys at 5 and go home.
Yeah.
Work my ass off from 6 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon or 4 in the afternoon.
What was your primary job?
Well,
In 2013.
I was running motor down at Fort Howard in Georgia.
Oh, okay. Right out, is that Broadway over there,
Yeah.
Washington or whatever?
Yeah, Broadway. Worked there 6 and 7 days a week. I forget how many years. That's
So
what
you
I
would just, your primary job was to report there with your work truck,
Yeah,
and then get into a loader and load
Load
trucks
trucks.
all day.
all day.
What kind of material did you load?
There's slugs that went out by the airport. Ash.
Did it all go to the airport or it goes somewhere
Well,
else?
some of it goes to that Grand Tech where they dry it.
Where?
Grand Tech, right across the street from Fort Howard.
Oh, okay. So either across the street or
Yeah.
anywhere else did the stuff go?
Well, yours, well,
Back in 13.
Oh, at 13? No. No. Okay, went straight here because I went up to Maplewood. Gotcha. Go down there.
Okay. Let's go down there and see if anything peaks our memory. We keep on going south here.
I'm not going to go all to Maplewood because I'll just make a U-turn. I'll show you where I come back.
Well, just go the way you remember. I mean, if you went into Maplewood, I want you to go there. If you didn't, that's fine. You had your work truck that morning, right?
I had to work. I didn't have any other gift. This after I signed up for my Social Security. Got a bunch of back pay, so I didn't spend it on the truck.
I don't think you paid that much, did you?
80, 88, 89, whatever stuff. Or not back then, no. But I'm stuck. Took in 3,000 in. Had to get the transmission rebuilt. That was $1,600. I just spent $1,200 on all new loaders.
So what are you thinking when you're coming here now?
I'm hoping I find her at the shelter.
So drive exactly where you remember. What you remember.
I drove in here. I didn't get out.
So just drive where you drove. You drove in the here or here, I don't know.
I don't remember, but I think I drove in this one.
Okay, go ahead. Do what you remember
Yeah.
best. So you said you didn't get up.
I didn't get out. I drove by here. I didn't go in. Just go by and look through the window, see if anybody was there. Didn't see anybody. There was no cars here, no nothing here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Went around.
There was no cars in the drive?
No cars were at the pumps.
Oh, okay. How about Parks? Do you remember any? No, you just remember the
I don't.
Did you go to Maplewood at all?
No, I didn't
Okay.
go to Maplewood.
Okay, so then you just turned around
I
like this.
turned around, I went back.
Okay, so one in the shell, one in the front, so you never went in the back?
No, never went in the back.
So you just-
I figured I would see her walking
Right,
down the
gotcha.
road or out in the open.
Now we're double way back, I got you.
Your Honor, in the interest of expediting this, and we got in the clip we needed, we are stopping for appellate records. We just played the 4 clips on that. We're not playing 5, 6, and 7. Now, Sergeant Aronstein, with respect to that route, and specifically now I'm addressing the end of that video, was it significant that you were having Mr. Prokopovitz drive through the way he looked for his wife that night?
It was.
Now, at the time that you and Sergeant Aronstein, or strike that, you and Special Agent Yurgis are driving with the defendant, had you planned to do this ride-along, or did this just occur as part of your interview that day?
So this was an investigative tactic that Special Agent Yurgis and I had discussed. That was something that we were going to request to see if Mr. Prokopovitch was interested in doing, but that's not something that we had disclosed prior to Mr. Prokopovitch when setting up an appointment to meet with him.
But as you indicated, this was an appointment that had been set up with the defendant,
It was.
and at the time that you arrived on that date, did he appear to be drinking something?
Yes.
And what was that?
It appeared to be a beer, which he subsequently confirmed it was.
Okay. And approximately what time of day are you meeting with him?
I think it was in the afternoon.
Okay. And he knew you were coming?
It was a pre-arranged interview with the police, yes.
Now, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 101. Let's strike that. I'm going to first show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 100.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize this?
I do.
Now, Officer Aronstein, what is this?
It's a pictorial representation that I generated with the assistance of Analyst Bailing with the Brown County Sheriff's Office, depicting the route of travel based on reviewing the totality of the video that was just presented.
So when you're talking about Analyst Bailing, that is Tyler Bailing that we heard on the phones yesterday?
That's correct. He's a lot better with computers than I am.
Okay, so he assisted you in making this. And this chart, can you see that, Your Honor? Okay, and can the jury also see that? With respect to this chart, and again, I'm referring for the record to exhibit number 100. If you could, Officer Aronstein, could you step down and indicate that the route that you drove with the defendant on that date?
Sure. So in the center of this map, you can see 5118 Coonish Road. That's where the trip started. And then you can follow the arrows, and this is the route that was taken. More specifically, this is the route that Mr. Prokopovitch drove, Special Agent Yurgis and I, until we arrived back at the residence.
Now, with respect to that route that was driven, at the time that you're doing this investigation, are there concerns that at that time that Mr. Prokopovitz did not drive a route looking for his wife, as he had previously indicated?
Yes, there's been significant concern that what Mr. Prokopovitch was relaying to law enforcement as far as looking for his wife, the concern was that he wasn't being truthful about that account.
Now, with respect to that, is that the purpose of why you wanted to have him actually drive through the route he alleged he drove on that night?
That was part of the reason, that's correct.
Now, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 101. You can see that, Your Honor? And for the jury. With respect to this exhibit, is this also something that you had Analyst Bailing assist you with?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is this?
So this would be a close-up representation of the gas station, restaurant area that was just shown in that video where Mr. Prokopovitch comes in on this roadway here. He indicates that when he's looking for his wife, what he does is he drives over here. This would be a representation of the gas pumps. He comes in here, he drives past, he indicates that he observes the front area of the business, and then he exits through this way. He specifically indicates that he doesn't check the back parking lot, he doesn't go in, and then you could see us exiting this way and returning back in the direction that we came from. And so this is a pictorial representation of that.
Did he also just indicate that he didn't see any other cars there at that time?
He did.
And did he also testify he didn't see anyone there at the pumps?
He did.
With respect to the description of what Mr. Prokopovitch has given on that day regarding his drive, was there then some follow-up by your department to determine the veracity of him looking for his wife in this manner?
Yes, I immediately recognized this to be of significant evidentiary value. The reason being is back in 2013, so years earlier, I had collected surveillance video from that particular gas station as part of this investigation. So I immediately knew that I now had information that would be able to either confirm or deny the information that Mr. Prokopovitch is indicating to us. So I specifically asked follow-up questions as to which vehicle were you driving, and he indicated it was his work vehicle at the time, so I could gather sufficient enough information to be able to determine whether his vehicle was indeed at that gas station that morning or not.
With regard to that follow-up surveillance, video surveillance, did you then have an officer from your agency watch the video from that Shell gas station on the date in question?
Yes, I requested the assistance of Sergeant Lopnow, a colleague of mine in the investigative division, to conduct this review.
And do you recall, was the review of the surveillance from the evening of April 25th of 2013 into the early morning of April 26th of 2013?
I believe there was a number of reviews that were done by Sergeant Lopnow, and they expanded in the time frame that was covered. So it would have been from the midnight area all the way up until we had information that he had clocked in at work, which was in the downtown Green Bay area.
Okay. And so Sergeant Rick Lopnow of your agency reviewed all that video?
He did, and he would be able to speak in more detail of what different timeframes he had focused on. But I had relayed to him as the case agent of really the timeline that was in question here.
Did he then forward you those results?
He did.
And what was that?
Mr. Prokopovich's vehicle was not at that gas station on the morning of April 26, 2013, as he had indicated here.
With respect to that, was that information and that surveillance something that was utilized in a later evidentiary hearing in this case, where Mr. Prokopovitch was confronted about the fact that that was appearing to be untruthful?
It was.
And based upon that information, that was something then that law enforcement had noted was inconsistent with him looking for his wife on that date.
One of a number of things. That is correct.
It was one of them, though.
Yes.
Now, on the date that you did this ride along with him, 2016 date. That was a date that law enforcement had believed at the time that you now had information from Mr. Prokopovitz that had been untruthful.
This was an inconsistency that was noted.
Okay. And on that date, when you were meeting with Mr. Prokopovitz, you are acting in your official capacity as a law enforcement officer?
I am.
And at the time, Mr. Prokopovitz was aware that you were a law enforcement officer after you've been meeting with him as part of this investigation?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
And at the time that you were meeting with Mr. Prokopovitz, when he starts talking about this, you had been in the town of Pittsfield and you were in Brown County?
I'm not sure exactly what township the gas station is in. The residence is in the township of Pittsfield, but they're both located within Brown County, Wisconsin.
Okay. And basically, this information that you were gaining from him regarding driving through this was investigative information for purposes of investigating the homicide of Victoria Prokopovitz.
That is correct.
Now, at the time that you're running this investigation, and with respect to the interview that you did with Mr. Prokopovitz on that day, there was further interviews with respect to him?
There were.
Your Honor, at this time, the state is playing the last interview through Sergeant Aronstein. It is 10 minutes and 38 seconds. This would be Exhibit 102, and it would be the interview from November 2nd of 2016. We'd move for the admission.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
101 is admitted, you may play it.
No, it's 102. Sorry.
102 is admitted.
Thank you. Now, Sergeant Aronstein, for the benefit of just precluding this interview, for purposes of the jury, when you met with Mr. Prokopovitz on this case, is this in reference to the alleged obstructing charge?
Can you rephrase the question, please?
Sure. When you met with Mr. Prokopovitz on this date, was this an interview with respect to the concerns on an obstructing charge?
On November 2nd or August 2nd? I'm not understanding the question, ma'am.
You're meeting with him to talk about what had occurred on August, but you're meeting to talk to him about that.
No. I am meeting on November 2nd with him to seek follow-up information in reference to the friend in Shawano.
Okay.
So more specifically, the December 2015 meeting, he identifies a friend that he saw on the way to Wittenberg Casino who he indicated was deceased. Subsequently, in August of 2016, he reported that this friend was not deceased, that he had met with him, went on to Wittenberg Casino, and later learned that this friend was dead. At that point, we gathered additional information that this man was by the name of John and so on and so forth, but no phone number or address was available. Now, in November 2nd, 2016, we're now looking to, once again, either have Mr. Prokopovitch help us identify this address, as he has indicated previously, he's been there a number of times. And we were going to request to see if he would be willing to drive to the location if he, in order to point out the residence. Not too dissimilar to what was just done in August, as far as driving around and helping refresh his recollection of where he may have been looking for his wife on the morning of her disappearance.
So where did this interview occur?
Once again, at his residence at 5118 Coonish Road. Once again, it's a prearranged interview. Mr. Prokopovitch had arranged to meet us that day, but he was not informed of what the nature of the meeting would be.
We're just trying to pull up the video, though. It's on the computer, but we're trying to get it on the screen.
Morning, sir. Yeah. Can I come in?
Me too? Thanks, Joe.
What's home, I see? What's home? Oh. What?
Sleeping, it's noon.
He sleeps all day.
Well, like I told you over the phone, I don't expect to take a long time, very quick. I just want to do one thing today. You told us about your friend in Shawano. What was his name again?
John,
All I want to do is, you indicated that you know where the house is, but you just don't know what street it's on.
I don't know. I haven't, like I said, it's 3 years ago.
Yep, not a problem. So what I want to do is to see if we can hop into either your truck or my car and see if we can find the house. That's all I want to do.
I don't
We'll leave it
remember
dry.
exactly what street it is on.
We'll go check.
I don't remember.
Well, we'll drive.
But you said you remembered where it was, you just didn't know the address.
I didn't remember exactly. I went to see him 3-4 different times. This guy I knew who drove truck.
Right.
I knew a lot of guys who drove truck. Up and down 29, all the way from here, all the way out into Minnesota. And all the way down into Illinois, and all the way to Michigan.
Here's what I'm thinking, Jim. Do you normally take the highway or the back roads when you went to Shawano?
I went different ways. Sometimes I'd take the back road, sometimes I'd go in on the highway.
So
And I'm
Shawano,
not going for a ride today. I'm answering all your damn questions, Roman. Now it's on TV that it's a murder trial, or a murder investigation, or death investigation. It was on TV, on Channel 26 or something. If this keeps up, I'm gonna hire myself an attorney. I've been real friendly with you guys. I've given you everything you wanted all the time. I'm not going to drag some other people into this, because every time I give you a name, you drag them into it. And they had nothing to do with it. And I'm waiting for you to ask me where I got the money to buy the goddamn truck from. Well, I'll tell you where I got it from, my Social Security. I got a $15,000 back pay on my Social Security. I paid $8,800 for the damn truck. I got it from a money order at the bank in town. If you want to check on that, go ahead. That's where the money came from.
well, I never asked about
Well, no, but I was waiting for it.
Sure. So,
Because every time you come, you try and ask something, and then you ask the same questions again, and all you're doing is waiting for me to say something a little bit different, then you say, oh, he's lying to us. Now we got him going. And I'm done answering questions. If you want to know something about Vicky, I'll try and help you. And it was on TV. Oh, that she wasn't depressed or anything else. She was seeing a goddamn psychiatrist when this happened. She was on medication when this happened. None of that goes on TV, no. None of that's on there. It's never on there that she attempted suicide a couple times.
and was bound and determined to do herself in. That was never mentioned.
Well, we can't control.
I know you can't
what
control
the
it,
media
that's
is.
the trouble.
Yeah.
Then the search warrant, that went out. And then you never left me a list of what you took out of the house. I never got one. I never got a list, and I was supposed to get a list of everything that you took.
So let me kind of address a couple of things that you said. You're absolutely well within the right if you want to hire an attorney, if you want to stop speaking with us, if you want to stop.
I don't want to stop speaking with you guys, but it's getting to be the same thing over and over and over.
No,
And
I'm letting you know that that's absolutely your right, Jim.
I know it's my right.
Absolutely.
And
And I'll tell you why I thought it was important to go drive out to see where John was staying at. You know why I thought it was important, Jim?
why?
Because last time when I asked you, remember when we visited you, you were at Kathy's house?
Yeah.
And we stopped by briefly, Jay and I?
Yeah.
You know, you told me about John, and you told me about stopping over at John's before going over to Wittenberg and visiting Kathy.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That time you told me when you stopped by John's, you learned that he had been deceased.
No, that he moved. I said he moved out west somewhere. And you know damn well that's what I said. I did not say he was dead.
Hey, you don't have to yell.
I don't care. You're trying to put words in my mouth. And it's getting me fed up. You ask me the same questions over and over. Now you come in and you say, I told you he died. The one I told you was dead was that one piece of paper you found about Red Hansen, Laverne Hansen. I told you that was a friend of ours for years and years ago, and a friend of mine since I was about that big. And he moved to Florida. And we were going to drive down there and see him one winter for a week. I don't know where you found the address. Vicky had it somewhere, apparently. Or I don't know where you got it.
So what you're telling me is when I stopped by at Kathy's house, when we spoke with you, I think it was in December of last year.
Yes.
And I asked you about John, you remember specifically telling me that John moved, not died.
That's right. And you know it's in your notes too. Don't tell me it isn't.
So if my notes indicate that you said something else at that time, I'd be wrong.
You'd be wrong. If you said that he died, I never said he died. I said he moved out to Washington or Oregon. That they told me he had moved out west somewhere. You go through your notes. I know you got a
And if
pile that big.
And if I was to document what you're telling me today is that even if we drove out to Shawano, there's no way that you'd be able to find the house.
No, I don't think I could.
And either way, you're not interested in going.
I'm not interested in going.
Even though you've been there 3 or 4 times, like you said.
A long time ago. And that's one time.
Yeah, but
and then I stopped at the wrong house.
But you know roads, Jim. I mean, you know the area very, very well.
I don't know Shawano that way. I don't know Shawano.
Fair enough.
I don't know Shawano. I don't go there.
Fair enough. And then one thing, to make sure that I understood you correctly, when we spoke last time here, I don't know, either a month or 2 ago, when you said you went to bed at 8:30 at night, do you remember if Wes was still home at that
I
time?
don't know. I don't remember what I said, and I don't remember if he was home, or if he was in bed, or if he was gone and came home. I go to bed and I go to bed. I don't worry who's home, if he's home or not home. He's a big boy, he's 40 years old almost, or whatever. He can come and go as he pleases.
Looks like he may be coming down, maybe we can ask him for this.
He's coming down.
Oh, okay, thank you. Hi, how are you?
He's not here.
Okay, so I'll ask him myself then when he
Yeah,
comes
he's
down.
coming down right now.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
I went to bed.
Jim doesn't remember, so I'll just ask Wes.
No, I don't know. I said I didn't know.
You didn't know, okay.
I didn't know.
Wes, come on.
I didn't know if he was home or not. He'd come and go all hours of the day and night, and I didn't worry about it. As long as I didn't get a phone call that he's in the hospital.
Hi, Wes. How are you?
Just a quick question, and we'll be
Nice
on
to
our
see
way.
you again.
The night before you went on this and you went out to see some friends, right? What time do you remember? Okay, was that before or after your dad went by or again like that? Okay, and is there any difference here? Yeah.
was the folks up in the trailer park?
Yes. Not a problem.
Okay, so you remember telling Jim that you're going to be taking off?
I don't know if he heard it, but Mom was still sitting at the table.
And that was about 6 or so, after you got done eating.
Okay, that's all I have today. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Jim, do you have anything else for me?
No. Okay, I don't know what else to tell you. Like I say, I've seen this stuff on TV and what have you, and
Thank you guys.
I know you have no control over the news, but all this is coming out, but nobody is saying about what it was like for the 5-6
You know, you
years.
could talk to the news.
I don't want to talk to the news. I don't want to talk to anybody anymore. I almost wish I was dead right now. I'm getting so tired of this that I'm 71. I hope the hell I have a goddamn heart attack and die.
Do you feel like hurting yourself, Tim?
Huh? No, I don't feel like hurting myself. I wish I'd go to bed one night and never wake up. That's what I wish right now. I'm tired of worrying. I wish you guys would find her. Somewhere, somehow, I wish you'd find her.
Yeah, that's what we're
And I
working
wish
on.
you'd find her. It's terrible. I hope she's 1,000 miles away when she turns up. And then there's no way in hell I could be responsible. Because you can go, I don't know how you'll be able to do it at Fort Howard or whatever. You'll be able to tell how many days I was at work all the time. Usually 6 days a week. Sometimes 7.
So if she's located 1,000 miles away, you mean like deceased?
Well, a deceased or alive, I don't care. And if she comes back alive, good. Then everybody will look foolish.
And for the record, that's completed at 12:38. Now, Sergeant Aronstein, in reviewing that video, do you recall the emphatic nature of Mr. Prokopovitz with his statements about what's happened in this case?
I do.
And with respect to that, and with respect to your previous interviews, were there many times that you were interviewing Mr. Prokopovitz and the words he used were somewhat relayed to you in a convincing manner?
Very much so. I actually distinctly recall standing in that kitchen, and I had prepared for this interview. I had watched the recordings prior to seeing Mr. Prokopovitch in November 2nd, 2016. And yet while I was standing in the kitchen, he was so adamant for me to check my notes, and he was so emphatic that that was not the case. And he provided so much detail that the very first thing that I did after leaving his house, I pulled up the interview from December of 2015 because he was so emphatic that he did not say his friend was deceased in December 1st of 2015 that I started second guessing myself. And it wasn't until I reviewed the recording, even preparing for testimony and trial, I had an opportunity to review these recordings. And every time I watched that recording from November 2nd, I continue to second guess myself until I review the December 1st interview and note that he did indeed say that he was deceased.
Ultimately, besides that information regarding the friend, was there other information in the investigation of Vicky Prokopovitz that you found that Mr. Prokopovitz had lied as part of the investigation?
Yes, a number of times, and now I've been having an opportunity to speak with Mr. Prokopovitch for a number of years, and I am able to now have a understanding and a baseline of how and when he reacts. I note that he reacts with outbursts and denials that are angry quite often, coupled with a number of details. As it relates to the friend, as it relates to meeting at the casino, as it relates to driving, there are just a number of times that Mr. Prokopovitch lied, and then continued to lie some that I could prove, others that I documented as far as what his story was, which was inconsistent with what other witnesses and people were indicating.
And with respect to the investigation into the disappearance of Victoria Prokopovitz, was an alleged motive by Jim Prokopovitz in his relationship with Kathy Friday something that law enforcement was investigating?
Absolutely. I had indicated when communicating with Ms. Friday that this was very pertinent and germane to this investigation. I had implored her to be truthful with me. I had indicated to her the seriousness of this investigation, that it was a death investigation, and that I believe that she may be a motive for Mr. Prokopovitch having killed his wife, and I needed her to be truthful with me. But it turns out that she continued to be dishonest with law enforcement.
As a result of all of that and the hearings in this case, were there a series of evidentiary hearings that were held in Brown County in 2019 in relationship to this missing persons case of Vicky?
Yes, there were.
With regards to those hearings, were there statements under oath that were taken by Kathy Friday involving her knowledge and the status of her relationship with Jim Prokopovitz?
Yes, there were.
Is a big part of what was being inquired about how this couple met and the circumstances that they had told law enforcement for years?
That was one of the central motive, aspects of those hearings. That's correct.
With respect to that, and probably tomorrow we'll be providing the transcripts. Did you have cause to conduct an interview of Kathy Friday on May 8th of 2019 where she admitted that she had testified in court and she had lied under oath?
I did.
Furthermore, did you take a statement from the defendant, Jim Prokopovitz, on May 8th, 2019, where he indicated that the truth is that he did lie to police for years in connection with this investigation?
That is correct.
So despite these interviews that you conducted with the defendant, he ultimately gave a statement confessing to lies, some lies, in the investigation into his wife's disappearance.
That is correct.
In these interviews that I'm talking about?
I was also accompanied by Special Agent Yergis.
Okay. And the interviews that you took from both of these individuals on May 8th of 2019, these happened at the conclusion of an evidentiary hearing?
That is correct.
Had both of those individuals testified under oath?
They had.
And that had occurred in the Brown County Courthouse?
That is correct.
And that's located in the city of Green Bay, Brown County, Wisconsin?
That is correct.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 103. What is that?
It appears to be a type statement that was taken from Ms. Friday on May 8, 2019, which is reviewed and signed by her.
And that is a 3-page document?
That is correct.
Okay. That is witnessed by you?
That is correct.
All right. I'm also showing you that what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 104. What is that?
If I could just clarify for Exhibit 103.
Sure.
It was taken by me. It appears to have been witnessed by Special Agent Yergis.
Okay. And you were both present?
That is correct.
I'm showing you it's been marked as State's Exhibit 104. What is this?
It is a written statement taken from Mr. James Prokopovitz on 5/8/2019. It is something that's reviewed and signed by him, and once again appears to be witnessed by Mr. Special Agent Yergis.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move for the admission of Exhibit 103 and Exhibit 104.
No objection, Your Honor.
103 and 104 are admitted.
Special Agent Jurgis was present as well during these statements,
He was.
and both of you were present for the evidentiary hearings that were held in court.
We were.
With regard to the testimony, and we'll probably offer that tomorrow through Special Agent Jurgis, but this was something that was conducted, again, here at the Brown County Courthouse.
That is correct.
Now, there was some information that was just played in that video relative to the fact that you were asking some questions about Wesley Edge's time frame on the night his mother went missing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And based upon this investigation, when you are conducting these investigations, is it important to look at the timeline of all individuals that could have been present near Victoria Prokopovitz?
Yes, ma'am.
As a result of that, was there some forensic analysis done on the phone of Wesley Edges?
There was.
All right. Sergeant Aronstein, I'm showing you some exhibits that were previously offered and admitted by the state and the defense, and shown to Wes earlier. First, I'm showing you Exhibit 39. What is that?
It appears to be a mask on a lamp that I recall seeing at a residence in the city of Green Bay, Brown County, Wisconsin.
Okay. And what's the significance of that?
So an image of this mask was recovered from Mr. Edges' cellular telephone. The data contained within the image electronically placed that image in the area of Taylor Street, located in the city of Green Bay, Brown County, Wisconsin. I'm not sure if I knew that at the time, but I had ultimately was able to travel to that location and observe that mask at that location.
So there had been a statement by Wes that he had been at dinner with his parents, gone to the Williams house with Kelly Walters Williams and Jerry, and then gone to Ronsman's house until about 4 a.m. in the morning. Is that right?
That's correct.
With respect to this image, was this something that was identified as belonging in that apartment of Ronsman?
That's correct.
Now, with respect to exhibit number 40, what is that?
So it's a series of images that were recovered from Mr. Edges' cellular telephone, as well as the electronic data associated with those images.
And what is the timestamp on that?
It is April 26, 2013 at 1:29:30 in the morning, as it relates specifically to the mask.
And that time frame that is now in there, that was the time frame then that Wes was testifying he had gone from Williams and now was at Ronsman's?
That's correct.
And that would be a photograph corroborating that information?
That is correct.
As a law enforcement officer, when you're conducting these investigations, is it important for you to corroborate people's information?
Yes, it is.
I'm showing you a series of photographs. The defense offered a couple, the state offered a couple. I'm showing you Exhibit 41A. What is that?
It's an image of a vehicle at a gas station.
Okay. And I'm showing you Exhibit 42A. What is that?
It's a surveillance image from inside the gas station, as well as a transaction record.
And these are the ones in reference to Wesley Edges being at that gas station that he talked about getting donuts at?
Yes, when he indicated to me where he was as far as Ronsman's location, he also offered additional information as to where he went as soon as he left Rosman's apartment, which was a Quick Trip gas station right down the street from that location.
And as a result of that information, were officers then actually even looking at a photograph of Wes's truck where he had donuts in it?
Yes, so when going back at some of the images that were taken on May 2nd, I believe, of 2013, I was able to review those images and note that there appeared to be glazed donuts in the back of Mr. Edges' truck, the same vehicle that's appeared to be depicted in these images here.
And Exhibit 43A, what is that?
Again, a surveillance image from inside the gas station.
And Exhibit 44, what is that?
Another image from inside the gas station.
Now, with respect to that, what's the timestamp on that photograph?
Exhibit 44 shows a timestamp of 4:07 a.m.
And the date on that would have been the morning of April 26, 2013?
That's correct.
So with respect to these forensic downloads that Mr. Bailing did on the phone of Wes Edges, they corroborated that timeline that had been given by Wes?
That's correct.
So as a result of the information and even the statement of the defendant, the first statement of the defendant that Wes was not at the house that evening, that corroborated everybody's version of as well of a time frame. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Your counsel want to approach?
All right, Sergeant Aronstein, I'm showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 105. What is that?
It's the original certificate of life birth for Victoria Lynn Allard.
And was that Victoria Prokopovitz's maiden name?
That is correct.
Did you say her date of birth? I'm sorry.
I'm looking for it. It's 9/10 of 53.
I'm also showing you what's been marked as State Exhibit 106. What is that?
It's the original certificate of marriage for James Malone Prokopovitz, 8/1 of 45, and Victoria Lynn Allard, 9/10 of 53.
And what was the date of the marriage?
October 11, 1989.
Thank you. Now, do we move to the admission of Exhibit 105 and Exhibit 106?
No objection, Your Honor.
105, 106 are admitted.
Now, Sergeant Aronstein, when we had Officer Yankee on the stand yesterday, We had asked her about a photograph from the search warrant. I'm showing you Exhibit 84. Do you recognize this?
Yes, this appears to be a bed in the bedroom at 5118 Coonish Road that was shared by Mr. Prokopovitch and his wife, Victoria Prokopovitz.
But at the time that that was taken, that was the bedroom of James Prokopovitz?
That's correct. This would be
His bedroom?
his bedroom.
Okay. And this was the one that Sergeant Yankee was shown, but we didn't publish it to the jury at that time. Do you recall that?
I do.
But I believe we previously moved for the admission of this. We were moving for it to be published. But we're asking if we can publish it now. If you recall, we didn't have the smart board working at that time.
What number was that? Was that? All right, 84 was admitted. You requesting permission to publish at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection? You may.
Now, Sergeant Aronstein, with respect to this investigation into the disappearance of Victoria Prokopovitz, at all times from April 26th of 2013 up until even the trial in this case, have the children of Victoria Prokopovitz, meaning Wes, Stacey, and Marcia, been forthright with law enforcement and attempted to assist them in getting answers about their mother's disappearance?
That's been my impression.
With respect to this overall investigation, has, other than when you have contacted Mr. Prokopovitz, has Jim Prokopovitz come forward to law enforcement at any time to offer assistance with respect to his wife Victoria and her disappearance?
Never.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Banzo, do you prefer to wait until tomorrow, or do you want to get your cross done tonight? It's already 5:45. I imagine some are getting hungry. Do you have an objection to waiting until tomorrow?
I have no objection to waiting tomorrow. I'm at kind of a lengthy cross, Your Honor, so I don't want to keep people late.
Yeah, fair enough. And I anticipated a lengthy cross because this witness has been on the stand about 3-4 times. I would imagine it's a cumulative effect of cross-examination. So, jurors, having said that, then I'll excuse you for the night. See you back tomorrow morning at 8:30. Remember the admonition, do not discuss the case with anyone. All right, have a good night. Anything we need to discuss outside the presence of the jurors?
Your Honor, I think the only thing that we need to take up prior to recessing this evening is the issue with, I think the court brought up with the cameras focusing on the exhibits that haven't been published yet. I think the necessity for the appellate record is that until they go to the jury, I don't want things filmed to the extent that they could get on TV and a jury member happens to catch it on TV or something, not that they're looking for it, and I'm not suggesting that they are, but the perhaps chance that if they walk through a room and something gets popped up that hasn't been published or sent back to their jury room could influence their decision-making. So I request that the camera doesn't focus on those, only focus on things that have been published and allowed by the court.
For the record, Ms. Lemko?
I would concur with that, Your Honor.
First, let me give a indication. The clerk was kind enough to pass me a note indicating that that was occurring at the time, and accept that it was. Viewing a feed, at least they were providing to one of the local affiliates. So I'll make another indication to the media representatives that they are not to attempt to publish or view video an exhibit that has not been published to the jurors. So we'll try to clean that up before we commence again tomorrow morning. Anything else we need to do tonight?
No, Your Honor, I can advise the court that the state might have gotten a little bit, we might have thought we'd move a little more quickly when we did, but than we did. But I can assure the court, we do believe, other than one video through Special Agent Jurgis, some transcripts for the perjury counts and the conspiracy, and some final information, possibly calling, I guess, one other quick witness, that we still intend to be able to get our case in by tomorrow morning, just so the defense is put on notice with respect to that.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, court stands in recess until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome.